Well, with the gearbox on the back of the engine there, we've just got a few little odd jobs. I've fixed up the dipstick tube. I've straightened that out, and this is the bolt that goes into the bottom. I've got a new washer on there, so we'll just stick a little bit of tiny little bit of sealer around the outside to stop the trans fluid leaking out. Just a bit. It's just Permatex. Right. That's tight enough. That's on a taper, so that should be fine there. This is the tube that I've straightened out. It goes on there like that. I'll just stick a little bit on there too, I think, on that ball end. See that at least for a moment. Then we've got to put a bolt in the top, goes in the manifold there, in the cylinder head there to hold it in place. that's that. Right. So that's that all sorted out there. Now that's the dipstick and everything in place now on the transmission, and around the front of the engine we've got almost finished all these pipes. The water heated manifold. Now the idea of this is to stop this icing up at high speeds in cool weather. The throttle would ice up and the engine would be stuck at full throttle. Not a good idea. Now that one there is the idle air bypass pipe that feeds air to the injection pump thermostat, and it sucks out of the main engine air cleaner. That's just the crankcase vent pipe, that one there. There's another one of these in behind there. Water comes through there, across the front of the throttle body and back down into the engine again. That's the heater pipe, that one there. That feeds coolant back to the heater in the car itself. That's the earth for the distributor. That's new power steering hose. Just bring that light around. That there is the pipe for the cooler. That's the inlet for the cooler, oil cooler. Fuel inlet. Got a banjo fitting that fits under the fuel filter, which is in the side of the bodywork just here. This all has to come off before the engine goes back in. It just won't fit in the hole otherwise. And this here is the lower oil cooler line that bolts into the back of the oil filter underneath. You can see that in the back there. That's for the thing. On one side of the oil filter housing, the line comes out, feeds to the oil cooler, and on the front side is another little oil line. That's this one here. I didn't want to focus. That little line there, that feeds into the back of the suspension air compressor. It feeds into the bearings of the air compressor, and then it runs back down through the bracket back into the sump. Like I say, I've got to take all this off. As you can see, that's the chassis mount there with a screwdriver sitting in it. Then a straight line through there is right in the line of the bodywork, and the body actually fits down underneath. So that all has to come off before it goes into the car. This is the other side of the transmission, and that solenoid I've got to test yet, but that's the connections for the solenoid. Now what the solenoid does is when you pull up the traffic lights, you take your foot right off the accelerator and the transmission will go into neutral, so that it's not the car's not trying to drive against the gearbox. Now when you accelerate, the transmission closes the valve in the modulator and away it goes again. Now if you go to accelerate past somebody, you're doing say 70 miles an hour and you kick it down, the same solenoid pushes back the other way and you get the kick down effect. It changes down a gear by itself, and then it'll go between 70 and 100 miles an hour before it changes back into top again. And that all happens rather quickly in these cars. That's the cooler line for the transmission. Here's the old starter. You notice that things get pretty hot here because the exhaust comes right through. I've replaced this manifold because they tend to burn out with the heat on these right-hand drive cars, and very hard to find these manifolds.